people you'd ever know.
I get a call from this Hollywood producer, and she starts explaining this incredible opportunity.
This is gonna make you a star.
6 days later, I'm on a flight to Indonesia.
It's a story that sounds like a Hollywood movie. Creative professionals lured to Indonesia on the promise of work from major Hollywood figures.
There were actors, photographers, makeup artists, literally hundreds and hundreds of victims from all around the world.
Emotionally, what was the most challenging part of reliving this and putting it into the doc?
Well, there were a couple of points. One, there was without giving too much away, there was a period during the reporting where I was involved in some just very, very intense, long, involved, and just very difficult conversations. And that took a toll emotionally, I think, on me and on my family as well. That was one piece that did make it into the doc, I think. And then there were other pieces that I write about in the book that that are quite personal and that sort of came out of nowhere during the reporting and the writing of the project that did not make it into the doc. So I would obviously encourage people to check out the book as well. But I think the doc does a pretty good job of showcasing some of the emotional difficulties, the emotional roller coaster of finishing this project.
Yeah, and I can only imagine, I don't think this is a huge spoiler, but because so much of this takes place over COVID, right? Like you are just wrapped up in this story that is already probably feeling pretty all-consuming to you. Some of us had a hobby of like Animal Crossing. Yours was on the phone constantly with this person.
Yeah, that's right. COVID, I mean, we sort of forget now that it's in the rearview mirror, but at the time when this was all happening, it was very real. It was before there were any vaccines. The fear was very real. There were a lot of people dying all around the world. And so all of this was kind of taking place, against that backdrop. And that was an additional stressor for sure.
I mean, and also to the perpetrators' credit, like they adapted to the virtual times, which
She wanted to get inside the minds and the dreams of people and twist them and destroy them.
is there a con that you yourself think you would personally be suited to pull off?
Oh, wow, what a great question. Let's see. Oh my gosh. I can't think of one off the top of my head. I did have a friend one time who decided that it would be really fun to deliberately become a cult leader, and so I told him that I would join him in his enterprise. But I mean, it was just it was all for fun. But I don't know. I mean, maybe something with like languages or accents, things like that. I mean, that was also in part what drew me to this one is that, I like accents. I like doing them sometimes. I enjoy listening to other people do them, impersonations, things like that. I think that's a fun, fertile area. I certainly don't think I could do what this person did, but maybe something in the same general area.
It's a good segue because, I mean, you spend so much time with following, etc. So I'm curious, like, what do you admire most about the Con Queen?
I think if there is anything to sort of appreciate, there is, I think, a certain amount of artistry involved in crafting something of this complexity. There is a sort of painterly, there's a comprehensiveness about it. I think that it is, it's impressive. The extent to which the Con Queen covered all the bases, the logistical question, the sort of the artistry that went into crafting these elaborate fantasies, the voice work, and then there's just the sheer confidence required to pull it off. I mean, it's really that. I think if I were to pick one thing alone, just the nerve it took to pick up the phone and just call somebody and pretend to be, all these famous people. I think that that's really if you sit with that for a second and really think about it, it's hard not to be impressed by that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've been following this story since you started reporting on it. And so just to see it kind of continue to unfold in the way it is. And then for me, it's the organizational skills because I can barely keep my own calendar, aligned, let alone the scope of.
Her sole purpose was psychological devastation.
We were completely paranoid. How do I get out of here? Who do I trust?